Hey, All Beer Inside viewers and listeners. It's been 3 years already, can't believe it. It's been fantastic. I'd like to thank every single brewery owner, brewer, cider maker, distillery, influencer, every single business that stepped up and let us speak with them. Thank you all very much. I can never thank you enough. Here's to 3 years that have passed. Here's to hopefully 30 more. So just remember to always support local. Drink craft, not crap. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside. Today we've returned to St Albans town, Vermont, and joining me is Dave and Levon from Mill River Brewing and Smokehouse. Gentlemen, thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to speak with us about your brewery and your restaurant and everything that's going on around here. What's the brewery story? What's the beer story, guys?
It's really not that complicated. We're kind of simple people. So it's got to be 7 years ago now. We sort of had this trend. We fell in love with home brewing, my brother and I, and also fell in love about the same time with smoking meats, and sort of this craze that went through North America. So we jumped on that bandwagon too and started doing that. And I guess we're people that love to share who we are and what we do with our friends and family. And so we would get together, once or twice a month, make a new batch of beer, and throw something on the barbecue. And
that sounds terrible.
It was absolutely horrible. So, we were lucky enough to, have, friends and family that love beer. And so they would swing in, in the afternoons and enjoy the food and the beer that we had made.
Cool. You brought me out some beers here to try. What am I starting with here?
We've got an Oktoberfest all the way on your right.
Okay.
So Oktoberfest, our Bavarian lager, malty, sweet.
Beautiful nose. Awesome. What's the alcohol on this?
5.4.
Okay. Super nice.
Yeah.
Crushable Marzen style.
Yeah.
Toast.
Cheers.
And the label that we had made for us was a local artist. It started, wow, isn't that awesome?
Oh, that is fantastic. Like this would, we'll be grabbing lunch after, so.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a very popular beer for us for sure.
Wow. Fantastic. So you said your label's done with a local graphic artist?
Label's done with a local artist and tattoo artist. He's super generous with his time and effort. Some of the, as we, talk about the community, we'll get into some more of that. But, certainly we're really lucky to have him around us.
Same person.
His name's John Young.
Same person does all your labeling, or you throw it out there and hey, whatever graphic artist wants to.
We've got 2 or 3 people that really do it. We have a person that does most of them.
Okay.
I'd say 95% of the labels that we do. She produces. She now lives in California and does this all online. So really, and we, as we talk about things and what's changed over the last few years, that's one of the things that we've seen is that it doesn't matter where you live.
Yeah.
You can support. In this case, business. And so that's what we've got.
The name Mill River, where does that come from? Why's it called that? Why not named after the family? Or, I think you're on kind of Highway 38-ish here, so why not 38 Brewing or anything like that?
Because I'm going to go back to the simple piece.
Yeah.
So we were growing up. My family moved onto the Mill River Road. In local town Georgia, next town south. So it's a small mill river runs through behind our house, and so pretty simple.
So you guys are 7 years in now. I think 14 Star is not too far from you. They're not.
Nope, they're
not that
just
old
over
either.
10 years. I want to say they are.
So I'm assuming that St Albans is yes, or beer, please.
I think that there was some concern, just in talking to 14 Star, when we were starting this up, and there was some concern that we might saturate the market, but that's anything but the case, and so. They've been great ambassadors to, brewing in the state of Vermont, and certainly been good friends of ours.
I am constantly impressed. The state of Vermont, you're about 675,000. You have 72 breweries.
Exactly.
It's wild to me. I had not even heard of a few of friends check out these guys now. Check out these guys. These guys are. And I'm but they're not on the app. I don't know yet.
So I think that the beauty again is where we're seeing, and we talk a little bit about local, right? And so we, I don't know. It just seems like. What we're seeing is the trend is that people are enjoying local pubs, which has been, a thing of the past. So the past repeats itself. I think we're seeing that again.
Yeah, we have lost those those local neighborhood pubs. I find, especially where we live there in Montreal, they've disappeared to no end. Now they're the bigger places. Like your Irish pubs are great to have. They're big and stuff, but the local pub, I was in Cleveland in 2016 and we were staying at an Airbnb just off of downtown, and there was it looked like some guy's house that was a pub. I'm like, I want this back.
Yeah.
Where is that? And this has very comfortable, this is your new, where we're recording today is your new kind of tap room / bar area.
It is.
It feels comfortable in here, just from what I'm seeing already, with the brick facade to the designs, and obviously you need TVs. I saw darts back there. It feels like you guys are very community driven. Obviously, local supporting you guys was a big thing during the pandemic too, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we wouldn't have made it through the pandemic without the support of the local community. And when I say local community, I'm talking, let's talk about counties, right? So Franklin County, Chittenden County really supported Mill River Brewing and barbecue to no end. To the point where we were, we had to pivot quickly, to from a full service sit down restaurant to completely takeout. So we
started deliveries during the pandemic as well, just to try and help boost that.
Yeah.
And it was just really, people were going into survival mode, and it's just the local communities just have, and it's not just us, they've supported others, and we found ourselves actually doing the same thing as going, okay, instead of making dinner tonight, we're just going to order from a local restaurant, just to support them, because it's we're stronger together.
It must have been nice when you finally had that French accent come back, and you're like, we haven't heard this for 2 years.
we get a lot of traffic from Montreal and from Canada for sure. Before the pandemic, and it's starting to come back now.
It is just starting to revive itself again, and our believe it or not, we are that gateway to the United States in this area, right? And so we rely heavily on that tourism, and vice versa, right? I know a lot of people that love to go to Montreal and Quebec.
It stayed busy up there. Like I said, I was worried some of the breweries might have closed, but generally alcohol was given an exemption to kind of survive. Breweries that have opened during the pandemic, which is wild to me, that everybody said though, I was already working on this for 5 years. I can't let this stop me. I'm already fully pot committed.
But that's the thing, right? So I think regardless of you're in Quebec or in Vermont, you're in planning for years just to get a brewery started. And I think it's worth it for sure. And for us, and I know that a lot of, and we were talking previously about breweries starting up in old warehouses and old buildings, and so we're repurposing things that have another life now, right? And so to me it makes sense. The way breweries are going. We talked about starting a bowling alley. Mill River Brewing is an old car wash. We're sitting in an old Ford dealership, and Yamaha dealership, and we're transitioning or transforming it into this beautiful thing.
And plus it looks like you guys have a hell of a patio area when that comes around next fall, spring, summer. So was this always kind of the location you guys were deciding, or was it other places in St Albans town? Maybe we were looking at Burlington, but it felt too saturated. Was it always St Albans town?
It was always St Albans because this is where we live, and so for us it was really about keeping it local and supporting the local community in more ways than one. I think that one of the beers that we have here is we're partnering with Jolly's Quick Stop, which is a huge brand in the state of Vermont, in New York. So for the month of October, it's a breast cancer awareness beer, and so proceeds from both Mill River and Jolly's goes towards Making Strides campaign towards breast cancer.
I always find that's important. Any brewery that does charity beers, maybe not your first year, obviously, because you're just trying to get up and get going, but any charity beer is something that I will always go. There's the Pink Boots, there's the Black is Beautiful, We're All Together, or All Together. Those are the beers I was always buying first, and I would literally get frustrated when somebody would beat me to that last 4-pack or that last bottle. We made our way out to pretty deep in Ontario, and we're checking on the way, and he's like, "Oh, it's sold out already." I'm like, "Come on!"
It'd be nice if you could reserve it, right? Reserve it ahead of time.
It's great that it's so community focused, that it's charitable, that for sure it helps your name no matter what, because Mill River stepped up and they're supporting they're doing the cancer. It sounds terrible, but the cancer beer. It's like you guys are stepping up and doing stuff like this.
Well, breasts are important.
Yeah.
So I think we talk about community. I'll pivot this conversation. Yeah. So we talk about community. Mill River's always tried to stay community based, and so we've been doing. I think we're in our 3rd or 4th year for a fishing derby. That benefits a clean water campaign from a local nonprofit. We do. We do an ice hockey tournament, pond hockey tournament.
Nice.
And that, supports the, St Albans town in regards to... What? Spectrum. Yeah. You need some cue cards behind it, So every week there's a local, at-risk youth location that actually, they call it a drop-in center, and this drop-in center, the name is Spectrum, but it's a drop-in center for at-risk youth, and so they can do their laundry, they have showers. They're looking to raise enough money to actually have a couple of apartments as well that they will rent out to, at-risk youth. And at-risk youth, it's teenagers, and I think it's up to 23 or 24 years old. And so we have created a really good bond with them. We actually serve a meal there to all the participants. Every Thursday night. So, and I would say that we're probably approaching the 3,000 meals served there.
Wow. Should give you a little plaque for that or something. I mean,
we're getting up there, and it's pretty low key. We don't really, these. I guess, I'm going to go back to the simple. We just we think we've got the community takes care of us. We try to take care of the community back.
Yeah, especially with the last 2 years too, the community really local stepping up, and I'm sure people from Burlington coming up here, and then people from St Albans heading down to Burlington to support each brewery to keep you guys going. That's the important part. I spent a decent amount of each paycheck at some point, and unfortunately, I don't know if Vermont breweries were allowed to deliver to the houses, because where we live in Quebec, we weren't allowed that, but the province over, they were allowed that, which is very frustrating as a Quebecer, is you're watching somebody literally an hour away from your house getting beer delivered to their house, where I'm just like, I have to get outside, I have to put on my mask, I have to do this, I have to avoid people because I don't want to catch COVID. It's like, okay, but now delivery, that would be amazing.
So, I think that raises a point that, it seems like a regulation is a bit behind times, and to get change is daunting. Yeah. So I will say the state of Vermont did step up during that time and allowed, delivery, alcohol deliveries. So, and for those of you that are listening, we will love that back.
Yeah.
So, I think there's an opportunity, right? And I think breweries do play a part in that because of the tourism dollars coming in.
100%.
There's potentially a little bit of influence that we can have, and it's not to be unsafe or anything. It's just more to be practical and what's realistic.
Yeah, because I know in America the drinking age is 21, where we are in Quebec is 18, which is super helpful for us. It's still an 18-year-old's not supporting local. Even a 21-year-old's probably not supporting local. Yeah. More guys than 25 plus. And you're mentioning that the age for Spectrum is 23-ish, 24 max. Yeah. That's when they could finally kind of get out of Spectrum and be on their own. They'll remember Mill River supported us.
I guess we don't even think of it that way.
Okay.
It's not a business venture. It's just who we are.
Okay.
I've never even thought of it that way, or we have never thought of it that way. There's a lot around us that, it's just we feel it's the right thing to do. And, a little bit of kindness goes a long way.
And it's been a hard 2 years for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So.
But, again, at the same time, right, it's definitely been a hard year for, for-profit businesses. It's been really even tougher on nonprofits. Yeah. And so, if we can play a small role in helping them make it and bridge the gap, we want to be that part. And I think, the pond hockey tournament's a great thing. The fishing derby's a great thing. And let's face it, it's got beer involved. So it's really not going to be too bad.
So Levon, you're the head brewer, right?
Yeah.
What got you into brewing?
Home brewing. Okay. Same thing. Going over and hanging out with them, getting into brewing, and then we ended up losing our head brewer, and I kind of stepped in, and a lot of it was trial by error and learning a lot as we went. I'm now in year 3, almost 4 years of being with them, in brewing. Yeah, I just love beer too. That's all it is.
Let's get to that next beer then.
Yeah. So this is our flagship lager, the Hello, My Name is Beer. So in the red can over there, and then the one that we do with Jolly for the breast cancer awareness. So yeah, the little name tag.
Toast.
Cheers.
So it's super crushable lager from what I'm seeing, which is amazing.
Yep, the most crushable lager.
See, this is, for me, the lager. Well, my gateway beer into craft was a strawberry blonde at a local place in Montreal called Brewtopia. But from there, I discovered like lagers are the way to go because you cannot hide anything in a lager.
I think that's
whenever I go to a new brewery, I always try a lager first just to see, because then you automatically know what you're getting into. Yeah.
It's whenever I see it like on bar backs and brewers' faces, whenever I like take a sip, and I'm like, oh, and they're like, yes, got one.
Right.
So I'm assuming this kind of your gateway beers here would be this lager is you got your bud drinker coming in. What's this craft beer crap?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna prove you wrong, buddy.
Yeah.
So
No, that has been for the last 5 years. That has been our beer go-to for everybody that comes in saying, well, I want a Coors Light or I want a Bud Light.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we're a craft brewery. We don't serve that. But here, try this. And 9 out of 10 times, they're like, wow, that's really good. And it's amazing.
With here, it looks like you might have almost like a full bar on top of that too. Probably
we're
mixed
going to
drinks,
do
cocktails.
wines and ciders as well, and we are going to hopefully have our own spirits soon.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Sorry,
Very
I
nice.
did, plug
no. Definitely, this show is about we're promoting you guys based out of St Albans, but this is going to my fellow Montrealers, people in Ontario.
Montreal.
So
we actually felt like we lost a best friend during a pandemic, right? I mean, we not going to Montreal, and certainly I know that the people at Mill River love going to Montreal.
Yeah, I'm sure my friends got sick and tired of me going, oh man, I miss Vermont. Here's something I'm very naive to, maybe you guys know. Is there a big difference from state to state when it comes to alcohol laws? Because I know in like Canada, we cannot, I know here I can get beer from California. In Quebec, I cannot get beer from Ontario.
So I think that, what we're seeing, right, so certainly everything that, the laws really from Prohibition, right? And so, and it's, I go back to the, our regulation is lagging in what today is really like. And I hate it. Maybe it is demand. Maybe that's the right word. Is that the desire to get products from other places, I think should rule. And there's I'm assuming there's probably ways around that. Legislation wise, right? So, but it is very similar issues in the States as it is in Quebec. Canada. I
mean, the way I see it is as long as you're supporting a local business. So if I'm buying a beer from wherever, California at the Winooski Beverage Center, I'm still supporting a local brewery the way I see it. I've always said, like, you might not have a beer lover in your life, but you guys have food too. So get the food, get gift cards, get a hat, get a shirt. There's always a way to support your local business, no matter what.
So true. And we don't really push merchandise like we probably should, but there is definitely a way to support every regardless of what it is, whether it's a beer or not, right? And we lean heavy on our food side as well as the beer.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only time I've ever you didn't have this yet. I was just there, and I was just like grabbing my final beer on the way back to Montreal, and it was like after supper already. So I'm like. And I go online and I'm like, oh yeah, they were a Smokehouse. We're totally eating before we leave today. So, and then just the barbecue, like you said, 7 years ago, the barbecue trend was crazy. We in Montreal had a bunch of places that opened all at the same time, and those who were good survived, and those who didn't went bye-bye. So
really, it's not that much different than the beer scene in Vermont. If you have to put up a good product to make it in Vermont.
100%.
Yeah. So, that's really good for the consumer. Yeah. At the end of the day, right? It's good for the consumer that, there's such a high bar.
You guys pretty much came right into the brewery, or what was the career path before brewery owner, brewer?
College.
Crippling debt.
A family lawn care and landscaping business.
Mom and dad.
Yeah. We had a family land care and land care.
Yeah, landscaping.
Landscaping lawn care business. Started out with him and his brother and our grandfather, their father. And then after some health issues, it dissolved. And then my cousin started it back up while I was in college. And so after college, I started helping him out with that. And then from there on into the brewing world.
It's wild, just the differences of everybody who kind of owns or brews from wherever they come from. I mean, we've interviewed literally people who have PhDs who are like, I'm going to brew beer. Engineers for aviations in Canada. Oh, I'm going to own a brewery. It's like, what?
So I'm a Ben & Jerry's employee.
Yes.
Talk
about supporting local.
And so, there's a heavy influence from Ben & Jerry's, at Mill River, whether, it's employees here, owners here. There's a lot of involvement in that, I would say philosophy that Ben & Jerry's has about community and supporting locals, is something that we've mimicked, and so our, true passion is to make sure that we're giving back and supporting the community back, similar to what they do. And so again, taking care of the environment, if you probably didn't notice, but like our recycle bin is twice as big as our, solid waste bin. We're really, conscious of that effort of, not impacting the environment, do everything that we can from, none of the beers go down the drain. Even if, you get a flight of beers and you're like, oh, that wasn't really my favorite, I'm gonna leave it. It actually goes in a 5-gallon bucket behind the bar, and then it gets put in a tote that goes to a local farmer that reuses as fertilizer. So it's a win-win. He loves the fact that he's getting free fertilizer. And
I'm guessing spent grain as well you're sending to him. So.
Spent grain's going to a different farmer to feed cows. So
all of our liquid waste out of the brewery gets captured in a tote.
Cool.
And then we dump it down there for them.
I've noticed that in the brewing industry it is that reduce, reuse, recycle, like that big circle of
the hierarchy
local
of,
life.
Taking care of the environment.
That's
and
fantastic.
So, and if we keep that in the forefront, I think that we're doing the right thing. And I wish that there was, I think that, now in Vermont, and I'll give, kudos to the breweries that are, reusing the can carriers, and just, and this isn't about money. It's really about doing the right thing. It's amazing, and you'll see at Mill River, you'll see different color pack holders. Because we don't, at the end of the day, care what color the pack holder is, right? And so it doesn't speak for what the beer is, and there's a lot of other breweries doing the same thing, which is so cool. And stores are involved, distributors are involved. It's just raising awareness of what just really plastic means, to our world, and it's
Plus the cans as well. From my understanding, almost 90% of all aluminum ever created is recycled. So that's a big thing too.
It's amazing.
It's not like your glass bottles, and I know some places still make their bigger, bigger stouts and all that stuff in a glass bottle. But I've always been recycling my stuff. And like mentioning the plastic holders, I went through and I had like a pile like this. I'm like, ooh, I should bring that to a brewery. So
we love them.
Yeah.
Actually, as a fun fact, all of our sample glasses, our tasting glasses, are made from recycled Coke bottles.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And the flights are locally made too as well?
That I don't know.
Locally purchased.
Yeah.
I can't tell you where they were locally made. They're made locally or not.
It's a pretty unique design. What made you guys decide this one?
So it's kind of like a river, right?
Okay.
And so for us, when you go have lunch, at Mill River, the bar top is actually the Mill River. Top down view of the Mill River, which is kind of cool. And my wife and my mother picked the stones out of the river to make the top.
So it's a concrete countertop, and when they made it, they flipped it over and put the stones, laid out the stones to represent the geographical shape of the river, which is very cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to. Well, like I said, we're heading over there after. Who did the design in the background for the taps?
Believe it or not, he actually had a restaurant here.
Okay.
And then sort of had life happened. So John Montaigne, who is a local chainsaw artist, did this. So,
cool.
The owner that I, introduced you to earlier, it was his mind, that really made a lot of the architectural, changes, updates, refurbishments of the building. And so, this is wood off from his property. And it's a nice piece of oak.
Yeah.
And so that's our logo there. And another owner fishing in the river. It's kind of cool. It's certainly unique.
It's definitely, it draws the eye. Like coming in, almost immediately what I noticed too. So, and then the design for the new place, is that a team effort, or did you hire a designer type of thing?
We didn't hire them.
Okay.
I introduced you to him.
Yes.
He's sitting right over there. He's drinking a beer.
That's awesome. And so I'm guessing all local products, from the wood to the paneling to everything.
This was all here.
Okay.
The previous owners of the restaurants.
We got some advantages then. Of,
We did. So, I
Yeah.
mean, definitely, the tables and chairs, things like that. A lot of the stuff that was in here, but certainly some of the updates were certainly Mike's idea about, the wood on the ceiling above us here and, the wood in the walls.
Yeah. Even the lights are very unique, I find. These are starting to become very popular, I find, in breweries, or it'll be like that wood panel with the lights kind of just like hanging off it. I know La Brosse, it's like old pallets that he drilled in the holes and he put the light. The uniqueness of every brewery that can have is always mind-blowing to me, is everywhere is different. I've never seen the exact same thing.
It's kind of cool.
Where when you go to an Irish pub, you always see the exact same thing. When I go to a brewery, almost 99% nothing's been the same. So.
Which is kind of cool,
Yeah.
right?
The kind of grain silo out front, is that previously you guys, or is that?
It is going to be part of the beer garden
Okay.
area. So
Very
that'll be
cool.
an outside bar with a TV in it and a couple of kegerators so people can sit there, watch TV and
Love
hang
it.
out outside. So that'll be the same artist that did the Oktoberfest label.
Okay,
We'll
very
be
cool.
redesigning that
Yeah.
and making it Mill Riverized.
Have you thought about? I think it was 6 or 3 in New Hampshire. They had igloos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had like PVC igloos.
During the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
and they
during
were trying
pandemic,
to. Yep.
so-
So we had looked into those, and so and I think that Fiddlehead might have had those.
Okay.
And we we looked into them. And they started at like $300, and like I looked the next week and it was like $1,100, and I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Obviously it became super
Need those
popular.
supply chain issues to.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I'm seeing things, unfortunately, right now is we're at least 5 years away from any sense of normalcy again. What's the third beer I'm having here?
So this is Icebreaker. This is our cold IPA.
Okay, that's a very new style from what I'm
It
seeing.
is a very new style. So it's kind of a cross between an Indian Pale Lager versus like a New England style IPA. So very heavily dry hopped with Citra and Amarillo.
Oh yeah.
But very crisp and clean. It looks like a lager,
Yeah.
but it'll drink like a New England style IPA.
Awesome.
That's an
awesome.
amazing beer.
Yeah.
And so we were the first in Vermont, I believe, to come out with a cold lager IPA.
Because I know the brute style was coming up for a bit, but it kind of just
Yeah.
Kind of died off pretty quick.
fizzled out. Because more of a champagne-y taste I found. And, this is also,
Absolutely.
What's the percentage on this?
5.8.
Okay, that's not bad.
No.
It's nice and crushable and not too
Yeah.
dangerous. Not like
Absolutely.
I mean, I've been caught with double IPAs where I'm like, ooh, it's juice. Oh, I'm drunk.
That happens?
Yeah.
So I think
Especially
that,
when you're not paying it. When it tastes like a delicious orange juice and you're like, but this is a beer.
Yep.
I've had 4 of them. Time to take a nap. So,
I think we've probably explained this a few times. We're beer drinkers.
Yeah.
And we want to have a couple of beers,
Yeah.
right? Even during a podcast, we'll have a couple of beers.
Yeah.
No, really, we want to be able to taste it, be able to enjoy it, and still function.
that's awesome. So you guys have done collabs before when it comes. What are some other brewery collabs you've done? And then what are some that I'm talking you could do them anywhere. What are those dream collabs you'd love to do as well?
I mean, I've done a lot locally in Vermont. I've never done any out of state or out of country, so to speak. So I'd love to try and reach out of state. And obviously there's so many breweries in Vermont, and the potential there is incredible. So we'd love to keep collaborating with other breweries in Vermont.
We've collaborated with First Republic, 14 Star, Prohibition Pig. Plan on collaborating with Weird Windows. Jack, is a really good friend of ours. Odd Otter out of Washington State is. It was a weird occasion. One of our owners is a trainer in the service, and he trains doctors and medical people for rescue. And so we ended up meeting him through we catered their end of the event celebration.
Yeah.
And just caught up with him, and we just rapped over beers. And he's like, let's do a collaboration. And this was pre-pandemic. So pandemic really slowed us down in regards to doing some of these collaborations, but love to fly our team out to Washington to do a collaboration with them.
It's wild. I mean, there's been some collabs that guys literally just propped a tablet up and they all jumped on Zoom and they did collabs, and all of a sudden there's a 5-brewery Canadian collab. I'm like, what?
That's cool.
And then,
that is,
like I said, even before I had a chance, it was sold out on all 5 breweries. It's like, come on.
But I think you think about it, right? So we always talk about the bad things coming from the pandemic. There's some good things that came from the pandemic, and I think maybe working from home is one of those. You know, working from home, but also, you know, utilizing technology, right, to then do some really cool things, and that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and there's other Vermont breweries we'd love to partner with as well. You know, Kramer and Kim, we talked about when, you know, love to do something with them, you know, to keep it in, you know, this area. But, you know, we are open and willing to work with pretty much anybody. And
so you guys have the Smokehouse as well. Is there any kind of beer and food combinations, or it's just like you kind of make suggestions? You don't really have a pre-planned thing.
We started that, you know, probably 4 years ago. Pretty much, you know, we let it settle down for a year and, you know, started to try to do that. You know, with desserts, so our desserts are amazing, all made in-house. So basically our concept is, you know, we make everything in-house, nothing's bought, nothing's frozen. You know, just a little, you know, plug for the, you know, the food side of things. You know, and, but, you know, so we do a lot of pairings with desserts. Tried to do it with food, but what we found was people's own taste, you know, towards, you know, something light or regardless, you know, really took precedence over what we would suggest. But certainly, you know, we know that some beer goes better with, you know, certain things.
Yeah, for sure. Like I could see myself having, you know, a burger or something with this lager, hands down, no question. So.
And anything goes with a brisket.
Yeah, pretty much. Awesome. Fantastic. So, you know, I'm visiting. Let's say other Montrealers come here. Try some great food, drink some great beer. Friends in the area for them to check out as well.
Yeah. So I think that as we are starting to open this new location, hopefully in the next, you know, 2 weeks, you know, the thought is that not only can we, you know, provide great barbecue, but great pizza as well. And more importantly, you know, an opportunity to, you know, get together, you know, so we basically have three themes here, ultimately 4, you know, so we have a lounge area where people can come just chill, you know, hang with family, hang with friends, a restaurant more, you know, sitting around the bar here. You know, we have the TVs up, so we'll have 7 TVs up throughout the place. Game room, you know, with darts and pool. And then we'll have a beer garden as well that, you know, will be pretty outstanding in our mind.
And as far as your question is in other local places.
No, that's fine.
I thought you were thinking about it.
No, but so like I come here and I have my experience, and I'm not heading back that day. I have a designated driver, other breweries, cideries, meaderies, vineyards to try in the area. Not even that, maybe another restaurant that you guys are big fans of that you want to support.
Definitely 14 Star up the road from us. Good friends with them. Being able to go try out their beers. And then you can go down to Burlington, you can go out to the island, try Kramer and Crin.
You know, I would say that, you know, we partnered with a couple of local restaurants as well. The Drake, Tim's Place, Off the Rails is about ready to open up. They'll have our products on. You know, I would say Pie in the Sky as well. Maple City Diner, if you want a breakfast and a breakfast beer, it's good.
I mean, I think 14 Star literally calls their stout a breakfast stout.
Yeah.
So.
Who is actually named after my father-in-law.
Oh.
Or not named, he was on the original label.
Okay, cool.
That was him sitting there making maple syrup.
Nice.
This is kind of cool.
And as Canadians, maple syrup. And Vermonters, I mean.
And so all of our maple syrup and products come from Levon. He does sugaring on the side, or he's got a business sugaring.
I haven't been in 2 years. I haven't been in more like 5 years, but now that it's like, oh, maybe things will finally, hopefully be reopened this next winter, I'm going to go to a sugar shack again.
I was just thinking that same thing.
This pandemic is a weird one. You know, I'm thankful that I got to keep my job and all this stuff, and I've gotten to speak to amazing people, from influencers to brewery owners to beer store owners to alcohol sales. Like, I've spoken with so many different people, and the pandemic sucked, but still, like, you kept going. Most of us kept going, and we survived, and that's the important part. So.
But I think it's brought an appreciation, right, too, for things that we've missed.
Yeah.
And maybe we didn't know we would miss them.
Yeah.
And Sugar Shacks are probably one of those things that wow, I haven't been able to.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Because, like I said, maybe it's been 5 years since I've been to one, but because of the pandemic, I'm like, I gotta go back to one because it's supporting a local business.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
yeah. What's this last beer I'm trying here?
We've got a watermelon goza.
Oh.
He's a big fan of sours.
Yeah,
You can tell.
good. Toast. Oh, yeah, that right level of like sour and salty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, get a little bit of the salt, a little bit of sweetness from the watermelon.
Yeah.
Watermelon's very hard to come through without having it be artificially flavored.
Yeah, I can't imagine this was an easy beer to make.
No, so watermelon juice concentrate.
A lot of discussions.
Yeah. A lot of testing things and figuring out what's going to be the best bet. But my biggest thing is whenever I have something that's watermelon flavored and it tastes like a Jolly Rancher watermelon, I know it's got artificial flavoring in it. I'm like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
So we tried to keep it as simple as we could, but make it taste as much of
There's
the
nothing wrong
watermelon.
with Jolly Ranchers, though.
No. So now that things are kind of reopened worldwide, let's say you got a couple of weeks to take that beercation you've never taken before. Where are you going?
Germany. Europe in
I
general.
think that, would love to, I think, Europe, right? Belgium.
England, Belgium.
Yeah.
In Germany for sure for Oktoberfest, and we get to see Bayern Munich play soccer.
Yeah.
I think that I know it's tough, right? But and maybe we're spoiled a bit here in Vermont.
Yeah.
Just the amount of quality beer is pretty amazing. We're spoiled in regards to most breweries are really just open, like to get have a discussion, conversation, and just be good neighbors.
I personally I think I'm about 27 of the breweries in Vermont. So that means I still have almost 50 to hit. And New York State, New Hampshire, Maine. I've said from the Great Lakes to the ocean, just kind of this part of Canada and the US, we are so spoiled for beer, we almost don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
It's crazy.
But we want to.
Yeah. You always want to try the newer, bigger, better, but also the older, something that a monk was brewing it back in the day. Yeah. I want to drink that beer.
Exactly.
So. Awesome. Guys, thanks a lot for the talk
absolutely.
today. Really appreciate you both taking time out of your schedule to speak with us about Mill River Brewing and Smokehouse. I look forward to your future. Besides here, anything else of what's next as a brand? I mean, you guys are clearly very busy right now, so maybe it's like, we'll just wait until this is in place.
Catch our breath. Catch our breath.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we, upstate New York, and love to get our products there. We've sort of, the pandemic really, if there was something that hit most breweries was their distribution, right? And really, stores not really opening. So if any new contracts were basically canceled.
Okay.
And so, which is, it is what it is. So I say that, from a business standpoint, we would love to get our products. That's our neighbors, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we're so close to, we're in that, corner of both New York and Quebec. That's
Plus, you trick the Quebecers in Plattsburgh. They go for shopping. They're like, Mill River, St Albans. What do you mean it's only an hour away?
Crap.
So, yeah.
I would say, from the food side of things, get this, up and running, get our beer garden open here, which I think it's going to blow people away.
Cool.
Love it. So Mill River Taphouse, wood-fired pizza with, I think an amazing setting outside. The energy already around this place is pretty amazing. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Plus getting, Smokehouse, wood-fire pizza, whatever comes out of here, I'd only really discovered wood-fire food when I went down to Jersey to watch football. It's this place called Vesta's, which is a local Jersey-based business, and they did wood-fire pizza and wings, and I'm like, and their craft beer list. I'm like, where's this been all my life? So, I'm lucky enough where I live. We one of the first ever smokehouses in Montreal was in my neighborhood, my borough, and since recently we've had more open. Some were just as good, if not better. So it's like, okay, but I still have that place that I'm going to go support, and they also didn't have an alcohol license, and then they went straight to craft beer alcohol license. They didn't they didn't go with the big boys. They went with locals.
Good.
So.
Good. That's even more important,
Yeah.
right? To people like Mill River and some of these other smaller breweries that really are leaning on locals just to support, right?
Yeah.
More than just coming in as a patron, but certainly offering up our goods like these great restaurants around this area have done for us. So, how would you like to try some of that Mill River Lite?
Sure. I mean, it twists my arm a little bit there.
It's been sitting out for a second, but which glass would you like it in?
I guess the lager glass, since the lager will probably have the cleanest pH to do that with.
So again, this was we've always wanted a $4 pint
Yeah.
in our restaurants now.
Awesome. Thank you.
American Light Lager, 4%.
Prosecco of beers.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Might have a little fun with it.
Awesome. As we do, gentlemen, toast.
Did I get you?
No, you're good.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Woo. Yeah, that was like a brisket.
Yeah.
I'm napping in my car before I go home. So
I think that, as we sit here pondering, looking around us, we would be remiss if we didn't, highlight, some of the volunteers and really close friends that we've made, through, Mill River, but, people around us that just helped make us successful. And
I mean, it started as family, and friends joined in and have become family to help us, and it's amazing.
yeah.
So we can every Tuesday nights, these beautiful products in front of you. We probably have anywhere from 4 to 8 people that just swing in just to help
That's amazing.
for beer and food. And every once in a while they get apparel.
Oh, that's
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just the feeling that you get when you're around that. And it's we may listen to music too loud. We may swear once in a while. That's not allowed on this podcast.
No, it's just YouTube is wacky, right, with those algorithms. So, it's local, and that's the big thing. Is if it weren't for them, you guys might not be here.
I was thinking that just as you were, leading into that, I don't know if we would be here without the support from our friends and family, like that do this. And, from my parents swinging in to help rinse cans, to putting labels on beer cans for us, and there's a legacy there for sure that hopefully we can pass on to others just starting into this business, as well as family.
Yeah. I mean, you guys seem very open where if somebody else maybe wanted to start in, let's say, Highgate's close to the border or whatever, and like, hey, can you give us advice? You'd be like, yeah, come on, like, the more the merrier type thing.
I think, what we learned through the pandemic, and we talked about maybe a bit, but together we're stronger.
Yeah.
And if we can help somebody else make it, hell yeah, we're there. Whether it's, the working around, permitting processes and legislation and understanding what the requirements are, to equipment, to advice, you name it, we're there for people.
Yeah. It, like I said, the craft beer industry does seem to like, it's friendly competition. It's I clearly also need to sell my beer, but also let's talk. Love it. All right, guys, thank you very much. For those who are new to the show or new to the area, where can people find Mill River?
You can find Mill River at all of the Jolly's locations here in the state of Vermont. We do distribute throughout Vermont. Our beer sales dude does an amazing job of penetration in Franklin, Chittenden, and Grand Isle counties. In some local restaurants here in St Albans, like I said, the Drake Tim's Place, Maple City Diner, and Off the Rails, just to name a few. And
and then if I want to come
in the brewery, and here we will
have merchandise, both merchandise and beer available.
What's your address?
And it is 10 Beauregard Drive, St Albans, Vermont, and 366 Lake Road, St Albans, Vermont.
And those who are trying to find you on social media and website and all that stuff?
Just search for Mill River Brewing, Barbecue and Smokehouse, or just Mill River Brewing, both on Untappd, Facebook, Instagram,
Google.
Yeah.
Just Google Mill River Brewing.
Safer.
Click on the appropriate links on our
Whereas non-technical people.
Amazing, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it today.
Absolutely.
I look forward to eating some meats after. So.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Awesome. As for us, allbeerinside.com is the website, at allbeerinside on all social media. As I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap.